welcome back to another month of the Chichester Chats. It's me, Phil. Lilith is here, of course. And, of course, man, we could not do this show without, because trademarks. It is Mr. TG Chichester.
I think you could probably do it without me. You guys could just create like a Dan bot or something like that and just, feed it all the prior episodes, and it would do a certain amount of snarkiness and self-deprecating stuff and a couple of bits of writing how to, and it would work fine.
And every fifth or sixth comment from it would just be like F Carnage and yeah.
Exactly. See, you've already got it half programmed. So so here we are at the finale, sort of. I thought it would be good for folks who maybe are new to this or trying to play catch up. Should we do like a little,
sure,
like kind of recap, like
Rysk.
Exactly, previously on Rysk. So in the past four episodes or four issues, right? We've discovered that in the future, the world is going to hell, even more, perhaps less so than the real world. We could judge that later. But a flesh-eating bacteria called the Melt has ruined most of humanity and forced them to kind of rebuild themselves with something called graph tech, which is sort of off-the-shelf, cobbled together technology with some slight AI influence. So people are very strange and very augmented, not necessarily in ways they want to be, in order to survive and move forward. And our hero, Ruby Chance, got this done to her, but she also got something else. She had been working on an algorithm for a business strategy risk assessor, and which she called Rysk, R-Y-S-K. And somehow, in the process of getting enhanced with these other additions, this Rysk algorithm came to life in her head, and it started to be able to give her strategic edges in the real world, something that Ruby kept secret, because in this new world, she runs a crew of bookies, and betting is big in this world. People are looking for any distraction from the horrors of the world around them and rebuilding. So Ruby and her crew provide an outlet for that, and she's really good at it. She was really good at it before, but with the Rysk, the R-Y-S-K edge, she's extraordinarily good at it. So much so that she gets the attention of one of the world's primes, an oligarch named Mal Corvix, who wants to hire Ruby and her crew in order to run a strategic assessment on a heist he wants to do. He wants to rip off, he says, a medical breakthrough that would save his daughter from a life-threatening situation. And against her better judgment being the risk in her head, Ruby agrees to do it for a big payday, to then find out that Mal is full of shit, and it's exactly. And so the double cross ends up being that he gets their assessment, he gets a better plan out of Ruby and her crew, gets into this facility, but it is not a medical breakthrough. It's a weapons grade computer processor of some kind. And as she's cornered at the end of the fourth issue and her crew is under risk, R-I-S-K, Ruby makes the decision to install this advanced chip in herself, thinking it may give her a further edge, even though it may also ruin the algorithm, the Rysk persona that has, been her confidant and her, collaborator secretly for all this time. Did I do that justice?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds good. Sounds like what you've been reading.
Yes, the Rysk program may have been deleted.
Dun, dun, dun. Exactly. So here we are. So did you have a chance to read the script or the speed read the book, or where are we at?
I kind of glanced at both. Lilith, I'm sure you probably read the book,
book.
correct? Yeah.
So we'll let Lilith get into the questions and answers, and oh my God, you let us all down, and what did you do, and if you ruined it.
No,
there we go.
Not at all.
Typical Dan.
I really liked the building action at the beginning, and I found the resolution to be really well done too. But I am gonna need you to like kind of talk to BlackBox and tell him we kind of just need like maybe just like another one shot. Just saying. I definitely want to revisit. Like you can't leave me. I liked how you ended it, but like I still just want a little bit more, and that's a good writer.
Good. Well, that's good. So you wouldn't mind returning to her world and her crew and seeing now what happens with them.
I just want to see somebody smash Mal in the face, like real.
Yeah.
Throw him off a bridge. Classic comic book stuff.
Yeah, that was a tough thing. Mal gets his comeuppance, but it wasn't a necessarily, Mole Mal sort of comeuppance. And I wrestled with that, but I thought that, we had done so much beatdown earlier on. It felt a little, to me at the time, it felt a little repetitive. So I kind of liked her cleverness, leading him into what ends up happening to him a little bit better. But
I want him quartered.
Yeah, you want a little more hurt, brought down on him. So that would certainly be something. It's weird though. When I sent you that script, Phil, this morning, since you didn't have a copy of the comic, and I saw the date on it, it was like, man, that was a little while ago. That was like June 23. I wrote that. So time flies. Yeah.
It's been in the works. Yeah. I mean, I think you hinted around at it all the previous episodes, but I knew this was going to be kind of open ended, but it's like, I want more, but it's not open. It's not like you're
like I said, satisfactory.
Yeah. It's satisfactory.
Like, we revisit. I just want to see the him quartered. That's it. Just a quick little panel, and then we can move on to whatever else is going on.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah. I mean, I tried to set it up. I tried it so it felt resolved, so they were in a different place. She's in a different place, her crew's in a different place. They could make different choices what they want to do going forward. Do they go back to being bookies? Do they become some kind of, for want of a better term, Mission Impossible, sort of force? Do they decide that they want to do more things?
Justice League?
Yeah, kind of a Justice Gang. But it felt like there was kind of a growth to them, which I was pleased with in the back and forth of trying to figure out what the ending would be. But I don't know, what BlackBox wants to do with it. I don't know that there is more to Rysk and amongst their whole line. But certainly I think I set it up well to feel like there could be more of it without necessarily saying, leaving it unsatisfactory, like, oh my gosh, I got to wait my pins and needles for the second series, which may never come.
We don't have to end it like Flash Gordon, the movie.
Right. If only I had that soundtrack. Rysk, out to save the day, yeah. Maybe I can auto dub that on some AI music generator.
But I did like the final where the characters ended up. It all made sense. It's a little bittersweet though. It's like, saying goodbye to these characters. Just like, I just wonder what they're up to now.
Well, that's cool. How did you feel about the whole Rysk thing, though? I felt that was a very hard scene to write for me. I mean, when Rysk won,
did you flip on it at all, or you knew that's what you were gonna do? Like,
no, there was. I mean, that goes back to the original proposal that Rysk 2.0, was going to take over, and Rysk 2.0 wasn't just Rysk 1.0 sort of evolving, which may be, we don't really know yet exactly what happened. But, when I wrote it, it was like I liked Rysk 1.0. She was, she was kind of sweet and, school teacherish and it was kind of hard writing that scene, where she says, I was there for you and now you're letting me go. And Rysk 2.0 isn't necessarily nice. I don't know exactly what she is yet. And whether Rysk 1.0 is still in there too, that could be like something, I toyed around a little bit with, in just thinking, it forward, if there ever was a forward, is there, has it been supplanted or is it still in there somehow?
Are they battling for supremacy? Are they
together
just and make something new?
Right. It's just to confuse poor Ruby even more.
And I would like to see more of this. Is it the Dream Master?
Yeah, well, that was how did that work out? I mean, BlackBox more than anyone, Lilith. I mean, you're familiar with the character. How did that cameo sort of play?
I was like, oh, okay, I see. When you mentioned it, I was trying to figure out who it would be, and I was just like, oh, that works.
Yeah, it just, it was Demetrios had asked for it, so I said, okay, I could work that in. I mean, I think it's kind of a weird, odd bit if you're not familiar with the character, but if you are a bigger fan of the BlackBox, stable of characters, it was it felt like a good little nod, without disrupting the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Come on, Demetrios. We need the big crossover on the book. Crisis on every book. Come on.
Dream Master keeps showing up in people's heads, and they're like, "Get out of here already!"
I was going to tell you, Dream Master is one of the coolest ones, and kind of like one of the older characters too. And they have the coolest, they have some holofoil variants on the main book.
Oh, really?
If you
like cool.
Dream Master,
yeah, I have.
Little cameo, yeah, you should.
I didn't, but I haven't seen. I haven't seen the variants.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, it's a good book. I mean, I really enjoyed it. So it was easy to kind of, and that's what I think I can't remember if he had suggested it. He probably did, and so I had him send me all the issues, so I could read it and get familiar with the character, even for a half page or 1 page scene. I wanted to kind of get the vibe of it.
Annoy anybody if that's their favorite character. You want them to feel like, oh yeah, okay.
Well, I also didn't want to annoy Jonathan, Hendricks, the writer, because Leo sent him the lettering, like before he had seen the, before the artwork was done. So Leo, sent him, I don't know if he said, do you know about this? And so then, Jonathan and I were exchanging notes, said, yeah, sorry. I hope you like it when you see it.
But no, again, it was a great ending, and again, I mean, we talked to Leo before, but I mean, the whole art team, this whole thing just looked incredible from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, it had its a great look. I don't have that. I've talked about some of the not quibbles, but just the change in visual direction. And I would have liked Rysk 2.0 to have a more, and I described that in the script. She was supposed to have a more, I think, dramatic, physical,
different
look in her outfit, which didn't come across. And by the time I saw it, it was too late to kind of affect that change. They did do some changes in the coloring to try to contrast it there, and certainly her attitude and her dialogue is different. But I would have liked a more, drastic. Yeah, exactly. I think that's really, really important, especially because it kind of happens in the rush of so many other things going on. There's not a really considered moment to sort of step back and look at this. So the visual cue would have been a stronger play. And if we were to come back to it, I think that would be the first thing, is to kind of find a visual stylization of her that would be, more indicative of her character.
Yeah, because I read the script first, and I was like, I wonder how different it. Yeah, it wasn't too different.
No. When I first saw it, it was like, she's just kind of like, she looks a lot. She's the same, and we got to really distinguish this in color. If we can't change the illustration, which I think at that point was too late to do that.
I think the example you made is if version 1 was Keanu Reeves from Bill and Ted. Version 2 would be Keanu Reeves from John Wick.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. That was exactly my description. And sort of when you look at it, they're, like I said, they're pretty much the same, except for now some coloring enhancements and effects. But that was I thought that was a pretty good distinction, but it didn't come through in the art, and I caught it when some of the stuff was sent around, and I happened to look at it and say, "Oh, by the way, guys," but of all things, relatively minor, and I think that Lorenzo jumped in to, like I said, make some some adjustments with the color, and I think he did a good job with that.
So this was the last issue, but you said this is getting collected, right?
Well, that's my understanding. I mean,
I think all companies pretty much collect everything now.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't. I've got to catch up with Demetrios, BlackBox, publisher and editor in chief, on a couple of fronts. A, where's the rest of my copies? B, what are we naming the the barbarian, sword and sorcery one? Because I want to start talking that up, and then C, what do you think of the alien scripts? And so I'll also grill him on the collection. But I was thinking about this, and just it's publishing is bad, tough right now, and for smaller publishers, more so. So I mean, I don't know what his sales projections were on this, or what his his sales were, so that has to be part of it too. I mean, I think it's for him, it's advantageous now. He's got to have a collection, right? Easier for people to buy, especially if he's like at shows and such. But that's that balance of no additional overhead. There's still printing costs. There's still shipment costs, whatever the hell's going on with distribution. I don't know what the ins and outs of that are right now, but and hopefully something that's workable for any publisher, but certainly smaller publishers.
And if you can't find the collection or the issues, again, you can go right to BlackBox and buy them digitally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, BlackBox, it's got a whole system. They got print copies there. You can get the digital copies through Global Comics. And yes,
not to be personal, but do you get paid for any of the digital? Because I know, like, for Marvel and DC, they don't, right? So, like, how does that
I don't think my contract, like, there's the contract, as it stands, it may be different than some of his contracts, because as listed in the credits. Let me make sure it is listed in the credits. Yes, it is. I'm listed as creator or co-creator on this as well. So I our agreement has there's a vested interest in it for me if anything happens to it. If there's a movie or a toy, there's other things there, that would be great. But there's still numbers. The book's got to sell at a certain amount before I'm going to see anything additional. And I don't think I don't think
order the floppies, maybe not digital.
Yeah, order the yeah. I mean, listen, it was a fun story. I enjoyed it. I think you guys enjoyed it. I think some of the reviews I've seen, people were surprised by it and had a good time with it. I would say to folks, it's a good read. It's a good comic. It's a fun.
I have to say, even though I'm shipper trash, like, I'm just so glad that there was not any romance in here. Like, I know it's a lot of hip-hop, or a lot of female lead protagonists in comics. That's kind of where they like to lead to, put them in love triangles.
Should I have done some of that?
No,
and
I'm just saying,
I don't think there was room for it. I mean, it's pretty much.
There definitely wasn't room for it. But
it was pretty much nonstop from start to finish. Yeah, there was no room for that.
And that sounds like that's good. It sounds like that's something. You think this is nonstop? Where you see the alien one?
Oh wow!
But it's like I had to start cutting scenes from that. That was getting oh my god, what have I done to myself? But
Writer's cut.
Oh yeah, kill your babies. But yeah, but it flowed pretty well. I felt the action moved into it, and I didn't. There was little momentary doubts I had a long time ago, even with Axel's Infernal, writing, relatively young female protagonist, being a not so young male. But I think that worked to the advantage of Ruby and stuff, in the sense that I was able to kind of approach her without any baggage and not any need to sort of, I don't know. I thought I handled her well without becoming, anything
It's just like I know, like, I don't know if that's an editorial decision, but I know like a lot. It's just like, oh, sometimes you do just want them kicking ass, like Silver Sable, like that's like my idea.
Yeah, and I think that Silver Sable's a great model, and Greg was always like just introducing new crazy stuff. I mean, he had some romance in there somewhere, and I think if I came back, if it felt right, put her in a situation, with something that seems like it comes out naturally. I mean, there's nobody in this, except what Mal, that she's gonna hook up with.
Makes the betrayal all that much worse, Like I said, I'm shipper trash. Don't listen to me.
Right, exactly. Like she could have oh, your poor daughter, and like fall in for him, and and then they could have done some, what was it like? What was the James Bond one that was with Daniel Craig recently, where he fell in love with a woman in Venice, and that wasn't Casino. Was that Casino Royale? But and then she betrayed.
Expert.
I know, but it's like I'm foggier on the Craig ones. I loved him, but I thought the movies were wildly uneven. But she could have been all over Mal because oh my God, you're taking care of your daughter, swoon, 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 and then and yet you betrayed me. But I mean, that just would have felt awful and tropey and cliched, and we have enough of that, don't we? So
yes, that's my point. Like as much as I love just like I love just a little, like I said, shipper trash. There's none. It's like a lot of action, and that's why I think that's what I think female comic book characters should focus on is the action and like actually developing their character and not just throwing him into romance as a lazy trope.
Right, and that's very often the thing in a lot of different genres. Even a strong character suddenly becomes it's like everybody says watch the Hallmark specials in reverse, and it becomes it becomes like a story of a down-home girl who like overcomes attachments and then becomes big success in the big city, so it's like watching those are the real stories of empowerment,
But no, I mean, I think it's good because that's a lot of the complaints about some of the modern comics is they don't move quick enough.
Well, you guys have opened my eyes to that. Yeah, I mean, it's like the things maybe I've been selective in the things that I've read, which have either been just a lot of action and awful, like some of the Punisher stuff I was talking about a while ago. And although I'm really interested, I know Jimmy Palmiotti's got or is about to have a new Punisher thing coming out, so I want to see what he did with that. But I haven't run into as much of the whatever it is, meandering.
A lot though.
Yeah, I know you guys do, and so you're seeing it. Yeah, so I'm taking your word as trusted faith that that's not the thing. Which is why is that? Like, what do you think is the cause of that type of thing?
And it's just like that's just the new. No, honestly, I can admit to it. Or just kind of old. Like we grew up in the 90s. Like I feel like 90s was like literally the golden age of comics, like where comics and like corporate synergy kind of came together. And it wasn't that bad. But now, post 2010, post the MCU, like everybody has this formula and they want to draw it out, and they just have the set thing that they're gonna do, no matter how much the fans complain about it, until the numbers show that the fans are upset about it.
And people spent years on a book and were able to, flesh out characters.
Yeah, it's just you just don't have that connection with the writers anymore either. Because I mean, they're only going to be there for 12 issues at most for the most part.
Yeah,
I miss having somebody on a book 5-10 years. And
I mean, to me, that was the brass ring, man. You get a book and you want to stick on it. I don't, people who are on the book for like, I can't do it past 12 issues. I'm out. Like,
well, that's not usually the writer; it's the company. I think they don't want somebody to get for that to be the name of the book, and when they leave, the fans leave with them because some people are doing creator owned as well now.
I guess, but like Zdarsky was on Daredevil for a good long stretch, wasn't he? Like most recently. I mean, that's when I got, when I came back for Black Armor, I said, all right, what's the newest best stuff to read? And I went back and he had a long run, so. Was he like an exception?
I mean, a lot of the Daredevil stuff was good. Well, they just ended another run at 25, so I don't know what's coming next.
And then they said he's off the book. He's off the sales for like at least the next 4 months. So there is no Daredevil. Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing on the sales.
Yeah, because I didn't see
things.
Usually, a lot of times, what as one ends, they'll be like, okay, so and so's picking it up with a new number
right
next month.
They're probably gonna wait until the show comes back or something stupid like
maybe that. I heard the rumor is Bendis is coming back, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, supposedly Bendis is coming back to Marvel, so that is a possibility.
Right. But yeah, to me, it's I mean, I think I got some fun, good, interesting character bits in here. From the even little exchanges, like the little exchange when she sort of like gives the winnings to the young woman with the pinball contest, or some of the back and forth when they're at Mal's headquarters or whatever, and they're kind of talking in the back room. She's thinking about her crew. I mean, I think there were some good character moments that kind of enriched, at least for me, the action. But comics is a visual medium, and that doesn't mean it always has to be slam bang action, but you got to keep it moving, right? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I do like I mean, I think that was enough. Those flashbacks in the beginning of each issue, and then it's like, all right, let's go.
Let's get the business.
Yeah. And any of those flashbacks, especially the one where she's like, taking the money from the young school children, all have, or candy bars, I guess, or, could be an issue unto itself. So,
Mama, what's a trifecta?
Exactly. What's a three-peat? And that definitely would have been, if that had a couple more pages, there could have been some betting tips or betting slips, that
Actually, the letters page right there.
Can you imagine, Lilith? They used to do that back in the 90s. It could be like, "Hi, this is Dan G with this is Dan C with your betting tip of the month." Here.
Exactly. Like here's the spread, and go for it.
Well, betting is all the rage. It's an economic indicator, unfortunately. But yeah,
it is. Yes, it is. Of course, it is. That's the way it goes. And so, yeah. Well, what can you do? What can you do? So what didn't work? Like what was there stuff you guys would have wanted? I mean, we know you would rather I slugged Mal, significantly at the end. I mean, what were some areas of improvement? That's the only thing I
needed for the catharsis, honestly.
I mean, the only thing I'd say is I just want more.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
Maybe
mean,
like I said, like a one shot, or like for like one of the like members of the gang, her crew, something like that.
Right.
Let's go old school, a 64-page annual.
Exactly. Go into it. I mean, if you went back to the world, then there's lots of things you could do. He's been sort of dragged into custody, and now going to be questioned on what happened, with the melt, and whether he comes clean, whether he was really at the center of it. That's a big, like, MacGuffin, that I just sort of threw in there that doesn't necessarily have to ever be explained, but he could easily be let loose, or sort of pull levers from inside prison or anything else. So he could be part of a story, or they could go in a completely different direction.
So you said that convention you were at just recently, so people were checking out the book because you had copies.
Yeah, I mean, I put up most of the stuff is a pretty reasonable display of, like, prints of comics I've worked on and stuff, and but I had printed out several of the covers, like on mini little poster things, and sort of had a high pole where I put those on.
His
and then
setup's always good.
Right below, you've seen some of it, and then I put like a little stand of the books right there, and it's good eye candy. The covers are great little mini posters, and as people came by, they seemed more interested, and this is maybe the DragonCon flow, Lilith, even in the comic section, which was separate from so many other things. They did seem interested in other things than the expected, right? Like there was even
it's definitely a sci-fi, like a heavy, like conceptual sci-fi crowd, just
but even I mean, usually I would say conversations are 85-90% about Daredevil, which is fine, and very I get very little comments about things like Terror Incorporated or certainly Hellraiser, which I always think there's going to be more conversation around. And there was a lot of conversation like around Hellraiser and Clive Barker and that sort of stuff. And then, like I said, there was, well, what's this? A lot of stuff in terms of Rysk, that way, like they were interested in something new, or what is this going on with it? So I think there was just that wider sense of, hey, what can I get that's, that I'm going to be zoned into?
Well, I think a lot of it is just, because Daredevil's been on has this series now, and Hellblazers had movies and stuff. I think that's the thing that, maybe I didn't think people did this, but hopefully maybe they are. They watch Daredevil Born Again, then they go online and be like, oh, hey, Daredevil comics, and like Black Armor pops up, or
yeah, possibly. I mean, people come by, and there's a lot of people who are fans of the show who came by. I'd say this probably happens now. It's going to happen more because the show is been on Disney.
It's greenlit for third season already too.
Right, and it makes I get a little tear that I canceled my Disney Plus subscription, but F you, Bob Iger, and my check stopped just like that. But there's I lost my train of thought completely. Most of there's so many people in cosplay and doing the Daredevil thing. Then when they see what I had set up, and I think I was probably the only Daredevil kind of creator there. But David Mack was supposed to be there, and he didn't show up or couldn't show up. And so, that draws people in, right? That draws people into conversation, even if they don't know anything about me or what I did. It's just simply they're Daredevil fans. They see more Daredevil stuff, and then they want to know then about the character. What I want to get into the comics. I mean, I answered that question about 50 times easily. Like what should I?
Where do you start reading?
Story about that Substack.
Well, I point him to that, but I was telling Born Again, pick up Born Again. I said it's a great collection, and it's a great primer, and it's a great feel for the character. And if you don't like it, then you're not going to like Daredevil at all.
Daredevil 292. That's where you start.
No, but that would be self-serving, and I don't think that's in all honesty, I don't think that's right. I think if somebody's just trying to get into the character and see if they like it, they should. But I tell them, Born Again, the comic is not Born Again, the TV show. I don't even know why they called it Born Again, but
name recognition, bait and switch.
Sure, fan service.
They do that with so many of their movies. Yeah, everything. It's like Infinity War wasn't anything like the comic.
No, but it had some, the rocks, the gems, the stones, whatever they are. Don't even. I can't. I am the more, and you don't know what it is, obviously, and they may not know what it is, because apparently they're rewriting the scripts as they go. But everything I've heard about that, I have zero interest in it. I really do at this point.
I'm praying to God Spider-Man Brand New Day is not like the comic Brand New Day.
No, I know for sure it's not going to do that. I know for sure. It literally can't. It literally can't.
I mean, the Spider-Man thing, it's sort of like they did such an epic balancing act in the last one. I know some people seem down like on the last one, but I thought they handled the multiverse.
Oh yeah,
the trio of Spider-Men and so many villains. I thought that thing was going to break at the seams, and Doctor Strange. And they did such a great balancing act. Like, I'll go in to that one with more faith, even though they keep adding more and more stuff as we go along, right?
I mean, I'd rather they did the magical reboot like they did in the movie than how they did it in the comic.
I don't even know what the comic was. What was the comic?
Oh God! End of 2007, they wanted to get rid of his marriage, and he had revealed his identity during Civil War and everything. It may have been shot. And what does the flagship Marvel character do? Makes a deal with Mephisto.
That was the Mephisto deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So then they'll bring Sarah Cohen over from Aryan. I was going to say Aryan Hart, and that weird as cameo at the end, which no one watched and no one clued into, and
it was just so weird. It's like Mephisto screwed over this one guy. Why would you make a deal with him? Oh.
Yeah, it's Mephisto. His name is Mephisto.
His mushrooms are so great, Phil.
Oh man, that could be it. That would be a great line. Why should I make a deal with you? And he pulls out like a carafe or like a thermos. He's like, my mushrooms are so great.
Well, that's our joke. Like the Anne during Anne's run when he was in upstate New York, Lil says he was just like when he meets Mephisto, he's just tripping on mushrooms. And he's been like tripping on mushrooms since. I'm like, oh, so, I'm like, oh, so you mean Dan's whole run was a mushroom trip? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know like J.R. John Romita Jr. Was like, I don't want to draw some guy with a trident and tights, so it became that whole like, whack job, surrealist, trippy version of Mephisto, which is awesome. So
I mean, it's the devil. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, there's fabulous stuff, and sure, I mean, there were so many creators who moved up to the Woodstock area or were in the Woodstock area that a trippy Mephisto makes perfect sense.
Oh, but when people came up to you at DragonCon and asking you, oh, where should I start reading? Did you point them to Alan's run? Alan Smithy?
Yes, exactly. Alan, I gave them his address in Maui, and I said, drop him a postcard.
Maui now.
Yeah. Those I was going to say wages of sin, not called wages of sin. That was what it was called. But those issue royalties really paid off for him. He bought himself it was great. Those 5 issues made him.
Oh my God, Lilith! That our April Fool's episode. I think Eve Heavenwater and myself are gonna have to talk to Alan Smithy.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, we can actually.
That's our multiverse.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Yes,
man.
Earmark that. I will invite Alan.
Oh my God!
We will have to.
We'll send you the mustache.
We will see what Alan's personality is.
They're both talking, and then Dan talks, and he throws on the mustache. You're like, yes.
Did Alan have a mustache? I don't know if he did.
I don't know. You know better than we do.
He had a mullet, but I don't know if he's going to be able to grow that back.
Mullet and a goatee.
Exactly. Goatee. I'll have to find. I don't have a mullet wig anymore. I think I have a Jack Sparrow wig. Maybe that'll cover for it.
Didn't he get arrested a few times while in the company of Greg Wright?
No, I don't think Greg only likes to get arrested on his own, it's a very
you're hogging my ass.
Exactly. Don't get in my way.
So was this like bittersweet kind of like how do you say goodbye to a character? Like,
it's tough, you end it,
even if it's only 5 issues, you still I think as a writer you probably still just connect with
I mean, I felt like there was a lot of investment in. I mean, there was a lot of investment. I feel like there was a lot of investment. I mean, there was, this was world building sort of from the ground up, and I I said to Demetrios, can I just write something in like a warehouse with 1 chair and 1 box and 1 character? Because, you do the proposal for something like this, and that's 5 paragraphs or 1.5 pages or something like that to kick it off. But then, now you got to describe every character, every setting, every incident. And, you don't have the shorthand, right? Of saying Nelson and Murdoch, law offices, water tower rooftop in New York. There was not a lot of common things. And, creating the grid rush, sport and trying to describe that. And then all the, the different characters, there was nothing to lean back on. And so I invested a lot into those descriptions and then bring them to life with the dialogue. So walking away from it was, wait a minute, there's nothing more to say, on this right now. And even, just doing this Alien one now, and, I have to see what Demetrios thought of it. But I've been working on that for a while. Like I did a lot of research at the beginning of the summer. And then, it took me a while to kind of say, where does the research come into it? And then blowing it out and building it. And then over the last few weeks, kind of finishing all the script dialogue. Now, like I feel withdrawal from it. So I felt a lot of withdrawal when I finished Rysk, even though I had other things, in front of me. And now revisiting it, it's like, oh, well, that's cool. Actually, that worked pretty well, so that's nice to feel that way and to come back in and get to experience it a little bit after the fact, right? Because, sometimes working on prior things like a Daredevil, you'd write it and then it's out relatively quickly. These took a while, for good reason. Schedules are different. He's got to wrangle artists. It's his publishing schedule, all those things. But the gap between, it's nice to visit with them again, I guess, Lilith, to get around. So the bittersweetness of it, of not working on it, is, at least for the moment, kind of offset by visiting with them almost. Yeah, and it's almost like I get to read it. Because the gap is there enough. I get to go in and experience it and say, oh yeah, that was cool. Oh look, you did set that up right. Oh look, that worked.
The Dan of it all.
You did,
I was gonna say, look how magical this book is. Dan gave himself a compliment.
I did.
Yeah, hell of a book.
That's a hell of a book, But that was, because then you get surprised. I forgot about that scene, and I'm reading it and sort of saying to myself, oh, there should really be a scene where this happens, and oh my God, there is. And so, but to me, it satisfied. If I never come back to it, if there's nothing else to be done with this character or this world, even with the open-ended aspect of it, I think it feels like it checks the box. It feels like it's sort of left in that satisfying way. And you've all watched movies. We've all watched movies where you really like the movie, and that's all there is, right? There is no sequel to it, but that's okay. And there are movies like that are maybe not so well received, they don't become blockbusters. Or there's a movie like E.T., right, which has never had a sequel and hopefully never does have a sequel, right? Or a reboot or something. And that's certainly not as long as Spielberg's alive. And if he's smart, and I think he probably is to some extent, he's probably got a clause written that it never will, in some way, because there's something really just, I'm not comparing this to E.T. certainly, but there's something nice about having a satisfying experience, storytelling experience, and then not having to have all the things answered the next time out, right? Your imagination fills in the gaps if you've set things up to sort of like Borsi and, Yamato and her whole crew, even though they're secondary, yeah, geez, I want those guys to succeed in Prague. Or Ruby to be, bouncing back and forth with her now significantly more aggressive bipolar disease, and saying you can do anything you want. Are you going to be able to step up and do it? And there's that just, I don't know what happens next, right? And that's good, right? Yeah. What decision will she make? Maybe she does. No, let's go back to London and just open the bookie business up again. We're going to do even better this time. I guess you could do that, right? But that's not so cool. But
well, is it kind of enjoyable though that it's yeah, you have to leave your babies for a while, but you get to jump into these different genres to really get the creative juices flowing. Okay, now I get to do a sword and sorcery thing. Then I'm going to do it.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's been Listen, BlackBox and Demetrios and Andrea, everybody. I mean, these things are a gift, and I don't mean just a gig, I mean, they've been very freeing and enriching, and especially the genre shifts, right? His as I said, you think he has a little bit of mad genius in what if it was this? It's I would never have thought of that. What if a bookie, and a heist? It's just not, how I would connect things. I might have said something more complicated or something more tropey, but or the riff on the the barbarian, this skull warrior, literally this warrior's head's a skull, and that was a great genre to play in, or and even writing style and who knows where it ends up, because again, I haven't reviewed the scripts with him yet, but the Alien one I wrote with absolutely no internal dialogue whatsoever, right? There was no, which is, I've never done that before, right? There's a couple of captions, but they're more identifier captions to sort of know where you are. You're in you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or you're in, Jamaica Plain, Boston, or something like that, as just kind of cues. And I did that partly out of necessity because there's sort of like two interrelated main characters, and I thought we'd get kind of madness trying to bounce between those voices. But that was really interesting to kind of do all this alien conspiracy research and get back into some stuff, I had been hot on when I was 12. And
Nothing like your first rabbit hole, I'll tell you what.
Exactly. Look, this rabbit hole is still here, and it goes deeper. But that was a good writing challenge too. Different genre again, Phil, like you said, and so moving around like that is been very enriching, as opposed to just say, here's another guy in long johns and he's hearing impaired, but he can see really well, or something like that,
I mean, you must be doing something right. You finish a series, and Demetrius is like, "Here, I got another one for you." I go, "All right."
Yeah. I mean, I like to think so, and he wants it. I think I mentioned he wants to do a sequel to the Barbarian one, even though the Barbarian one's not out yet. So now I got to turn my attention to that. And
see, look, you're doing good. You already got renewed for a season 2. And
that one's got a season 2. I think he's.
Was that your biggest stretch for genre? Are you into sword and sorcery? Have you ever been into it?
I like it. I enjoy movies like that. I've read some of the stories, but I've never, I never went after a Conan story. I never went after, I was always scared to knock on Larry Hama's door, but I never, I never went after it. But I was willing. I'm at the point also where if somebody was to put something in front of me like that, I have to not force myself, but it's good to force yourself to say yes, right? Just because you didn't do it before, or it's not your sweet spot, unless it was something like I don't know, that either totally, if it didn't resonate with me, I think I'd try it, as long as it wasn't something that was like repugnant to me, but this was a lot of fun to get into that, and I found some good touchstones. Dan Brereton, like right around the time he offered me the opportunity. Dan Brereton had done a collection of short stories, and he did like some key illustrations in between them, of like that genre. And he had a lot of different writers, throughout it. So that was a great thing to not steal ideas from, but get the voice, like the vibe. And then I wrote, and then I read Gail Simone's. Some of her Red Sonja in one of the collections of her stuff, and that was just great. I mean, that was just like structurally, voice, tonally, like it just put me in the world, more so than a step removed. And I dearly hope I didn't rip anything off. I don't think I did from either one, but they were. And I said to her, her stuff was just a great inspiration. I'd written her and just said that was just such a great combination of action and humanity and pathos, and which felt like the mix of that genre.
Lot more than what you expect from most of those covers, I'll tell you what.
Well, yeah, but but that's it, right? You can unpack it, and you can get into that world and brood on it and do all sorts of things with it. So I Demetrius just said make sure there's lots of action and lots of monsters. So once I did that, then I could do whatever else I wanted.
He's like, check. Now I get to do what I want.
Now I get to go play over here.
Isn't that just
very cool getting new stuff from you, and especially like I said, this felt like very much in your wheelhouse with like the little tech touches and flares that you love so much. You can actually expound on it without somebody saying, "Hey."
No, nobody ever really was that down on that stuff. They always let me play, and but this definitely let me play in this area. But I don't know. I think they'll all play to my strengths, but in different ways. And I've let the characters lead a lot more to where they want to go. Something happens toward the end of the Barbarian one, and the character's sort of self-analysis of himself is a lot different than I I would have thought when I did the proposal, but I let him kind of go in that direction, which was sort of counter to how you would normally think a character in the situation where he's sort of been cursed and mutated and all this stuff to become what he is, and how he ultimately ends up reacting to himself toward the end of the story. It's because I just let it go, and that's either a sign of laziness or maturity. So I'm going to pick maturity for the moment. But
so, is there any update on when we will see this series or the Alien one?
The Alien one is just getting started, right? So I just turned that script in. I said conventions are BlackBox's like best friend, because usually when I'm there, I seem to get a lot done, because as I'm sitting at the table, I'm always writing, which people like. And are you typing your script right now? No, but I'm going to say I'm typing my script right now. And
that just amazes me, because I would think there would be too much going on, like distraction wise. But
now you get to lock in.
Yeah, as long as you like keep making eye contact with people. But so I just turned those scripts in last Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday before, and so he's got to get back to me and let me know what he thinks. If he's into it, then that'll just be getting started. But the Barbarian one's just about almost done. I mean, I think at one point he had some thoughts about getting it out this summer, but I've been seeing the pages coming in on the last issue, all of which are just off the charts. I shared a little bit of that with you guys, but certainly more of that. All that looks just like fantastic. It's just really packed with visual bravado and detail and action and the colors, and it's it's a real feast. I mean, the some of the wraparound covers are, I don't think they've done any planning at all for logo placement, but that's not my problem. I said these are like all posters. They just look so great, and then you got to put some stuff on there, don't you? Like a name and a black box
inside cover.
I guess maybe he'll do it that way, but they're really striking. There's some really just really bold, powerful action, grotesquerie, with the monsters and just a really and a range of like creatures and creature types. It's they really went off the hook. Everybody working on it.
The art team really helping with that, like design the look of the creatures and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, you've now read some of my stuff. I think I put a relatively good amount of detail in, and if necessary or if it warrants, I'll put a lot of. I'll provide like reference, like with the Alien one. I'm calling out a lot of things like pyramids and obelisks and crackpot, Nazi deep space fleets and so I'm giving the artist a lot of whoever it ends up being, almost like a whiteboard, of like images per issue and per conspiracy and that kind of thing. But here I describe, certain things. This race is a wolf race. This race is a, whatever, like a arachnid, sort of race, in a way. But they, art, if an artist is on point, which I feel these guys are, they just blow you away, when you start to see the faces and the designs and the the creature aspects of it. To me, it's just, we have a running thing, a messenger group on Facebook, and I think we've run out of like heart and on fire emojis. Everybody just like, at what point can you say, yeah, this is just, triple awesome? Because it really feels that way. It feels really good.
Very cool.
Yeah. So can't wait to like ramp that up with you guys.
Can't wait. All right. I think maybe we'll cut it there, but yeah, next time, and we already set our date and everything, but next time, I think we've talked about it for a while here, but we got to get in the Street Riders.
Oh, okay. All right. So that'd be a perfect Halloween gift. So I was thinking we
treat.
Is that what we're giving out to the trick-or-treaters this year, Phil?
Yeah, exactly.
Knowledge, yes.
That'll be worse than the people who give out like
toothbrushes,
exactly.
Boxes of
Toothpaste.
raisins.
Yep.
Apples, yeah.
Boxes of raisins. Oh my God. What was the worst Halloween thing you ever got?
I don't know.
Candy corn, not gonna lie.
Candy corn? I like candy corn.
I like candy corn too. I don't know if I could say I've ever got anything really bad. Yeah, I grew
up, I had a lot of dentists on my block. Actually, all the good, like we got full size candy bars, stuff like that.
Okay.
Gotta keep yourself in business.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Dentists do have a cruel sense of humor that way, don't they?
They do.
The one time I had, well, who knows what's going on now, but I had so many dental problems. Like it was a lot of money going to the dentist, and they literally sent me a gift basket at the end of the year. Because I had been probably their best customer the entire year, and they filled the damn gift basket with like hard nuts and hard candies.
And
exactly, here, yeah, break it off again. Come back. Yeah, okay, that's great. I thought I hadn't remembered we talked about that. I thought we were gonna do some Halloween-y thing, but Street Riders is great. Let's go with it. So I'll have to get your addresses and send you copies.
I already have mine.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Okay, so we'll go from there.
Came to me on May 20th.
All right. Love that KDP. Love the on-demand printing.
You've sold at least 2 copies so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Offer. Or maybe you can send us. You can send one to Phil, and we can do a giveaway or something. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's count on that. And then why don't we save it and actually do the giveaway, and then you tell me how you're running the giveaway, and the winner I'll send it to. I'll do that. So.
Okay.
Well, guys, thanks so much for taking this journey into the future, and I appreciate, as always, the interest and the feedback, and being part of bringing Rysk to life.
Thank you for making time for us, as always. And anything else you want to promote? The newsletter.
The newsletter's been like fallow for a couple weeks. I got some new material going, so I'll pick up on that probably in the next, I'd say, week and a half. I got like 5-6 things in a row I got to put there. The last 2 I did were memorials for Jim Shooter and Margaret Clark, and I think it kind of like took a little wind out of me doing those back to back. But I got those in the works, and I wish I had more to say about Axel's Infernal, but not yet. But I have to have some of those plannings and conversations this week to figure out what's going on with that. So maybe some news on that for our Halloween, not Halloween, chit chat.
All right.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Thank you again. Listen, have a great, night's almost over. So enjoy the rest of it, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye. All right. So excellent. Oh, and I even told
Chichester Chat as always, Phil.
And then November is going to be episode 50.
Oh, plan big.
I'm thinking of a thing or two, so we'll see what I can execute. Okay, I will. All right, kids. So yes, you can find them, and then I haven't done this in a while because we've been having too much fun on our Mark Grunwald talks. But yeah, yeah, I know.
Check them out. Scroll down.
Again, send us feedback, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. Got some more interviews coming up. Got a bunch of good stuff coming up here. And, of course, TeePublic in spring for the merch. And go subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com. New episode. Lilith and I just reviewed the new season of South Park.
Half season.
Well, it's the first half, which is out. Yeah, the second half's not out yet. All right. So, yes, come back in 1 month, and we'll talk to Dan. And, again, keep your eye on the future.